Hey, what's up guys, Sir Emanon here, back with another episode of Rose 1000 DuelingBook rating, and this time I actually have another different deck other than Lunalights to showcase on the channel today, and that is going to be Mekk-Knight Invoked. And the reason I wanted to play this deck was that I noticed on yugioh.com, which is kind of like an API sort of analysis of DuelingBook's statistics and whatnot, which I'll leave in the pinned comments, the link to that website if you guys aren't familiar with it. But yeah, according to that website, Mekk-Knight Invoked has a really good win rate for some reason, or like invoked variants in general. So I decided to look into it, and I looked at a couple of regional deck lists and things of that nature. And I can kind of see why, because going second is not a bad strategy in this format, given how like combo reliant a lot of decks are. You know, things like obviously Spiral, Hero, Lunalight, etc. And just going second has a really strong stake in the metagame, simply because you can tailor your deck to a lot of the meta calls now that things are starting to become a lot more defined. Like, it's not like super defined yet, but people at least have sort of an idea of what decks are in the pool, so to speak. But yeah, Mekk-Knight Invoked is a very simple strategy as far as, you know, having a very simplified sort of like one card engine where you can kind of just use to win the game after you either stifle your opponent or break your opponent's boards. So yeah, decided again that it was worth taking a look into. So yeah, we are up against Altergeist today, which is not one of the aforementioned combo decks, but still, like, you can reasonably play through a lot of back row, especially if you like tailor your build for it. But yeah, we are going to go ahead, and you'll notice right off the bat I am maining the Gamma package in this deck too. Funnily enough, you can do the Lambda plus searching Gamma stuff in this deck technically, because all the Mekk-Knights are psychics, so purple can banish whatever psychic you want to trigger Lambda. Not the reason I'm playing Gamma though. Gamma is just really solid going second as one of the more, I guess we can say, impactful hand traps. On DuelingBook specifically, I wouldn't main Droll. Like, if you were to go into like a high tier event expecting a lot of like Spiral and stuff like that, then yeah, there's a case to be made for main decking Droll. But again, in an online platform, I would definitely not recommend doing that, at least not at this rating that I'm currently at as of this video. But yeah, things like Gamma, Ash, Ogre, like Crow, all those hand traps are pretty good. Even like against the backward decks, they all have at least some utility, whereas Droll is like a lot more narrow in its scope of what decks are it's like actually impactful against. So yeah, he opens Pot of Extravagance, and he draws into a Marionetter, which I do feel comfortable in using Gamma on. Just like stopping the Geist engine from getting itself rolling is probably the best call for me. So then he uses Duality, and he actually picks up Manifestation, which is interesting. It does telegraph this Protocol in his hand, because like there's not really any other reason to take Manifestation, unless if like either he has specifically Faker or he has Protocol. But he doesn't actually set the Protocol here, which I think is kind of interesting, because like the reason you get Manifestation is to, like, in this specific hand at least, if you're the Geist player, you want to use it with the Protocol, right? So it doesn't seem to make sense that Manifestation is kind of just not really like, it's not improving your board state if you don't set Protocol. So I thought that was kind of strange. But carrying on here, we actually have 4 copies of Alistair in a hand, which is obviously not very good, because he has double Imperm. So yeah, like, this is not really a hand that is capable of setting up Mekk-Knights either, because we don't have any, we don't have any good columns set up here. So he's going to Imperm the Alistair, obviously, and we are forced to go into Almirage to try and set up this Blue Sky, and that gets met with, I believe, the Crackdown. Yeah, so obviously its effect technically does resolve, but since it's no longer in a column with opponent's cards, it won't search me anything. Kind of like similar to Ghost Ogre in that sort of interaction. But yeah, I really don't have any other plays, so I just have to pass. Like, theoretically, if I had a way to push, it would have mattered if it could have mattered that like he didn't have the Protocol, when it could have been beneficial for him. But yeah, he draws a strike for turn, he sets 2, goes for the Manifestation, and disputes over the Almirage. So I'm just trying to like summon Alistair every turn and hope that one of them sticks eventually. But obviously with Imperm Strike, it's not really going to happen, as well as Protocol. Now this evenly is unfortunate because I have this meltdown on my field, so it is not currently live to be activated from my hand. So I'm gonna I have to make a decision to either like set it and hope that he doesn't like draw a Meliseek, which I believe is what I do. Yeah. So like the goal is he doesn't draw Meliseek, I like evenly his board, but of course he draws exactly Meliseek. So that was the instant I knew I'd have to scoop, because if he didn't draw Meliseek, I could maybe claw my way back into the game a little bit, but the fact that he did not only allows him to clear the evenly, but set up his own board of the figure and everything, and I knew it was just way too much. So yeah, going second again, obviously, because this deck does blind second. So we have the Twin Twister in our hand, which is pretty good. Ogre and Ash are actually like okay hand traps against this deck. I decided out the Gamma package, I think, just because like Gamma, like having to run Driver when like you could run these hand traps, which pretty much would do mostly the same thing in this matchup, is like fine. Like Gamma is really good against specifically combo heavy decks, but against this deck, I don't find it as favorable as just generic back row hate, obviously. So yeah, Ash on the Extravagance is pretty good. Something to note actually, which I think is a little bit interesting, is that in this matchup I think it's fine because Geist needs like specific cards to be able to play. So like Extravagance often fishes for like those like specific things like Meliseek or Marionetter, or like even if you have like Marionetter and Geist, like you need other cards to play with it, because like Marionetter saying a protocol gives you like one disruption, but it doesn't actually give you longevity, whereas like the card you're really searching for is Meliseek, and that card is largely unsearchable, at least like in terms of what you can do like on your first turn play as a Geist player. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that against Guru I wouldn't Ash Extravagance because like they could hard draw the Guru pieces already, and those are cards that they can actively enable on their own turn, like especially if they draw Hidden City. Just some things to think about, that they have a lot more access to like their one card win conditions, so to speak. But yeah, Strike Judgment Protocol. Protocol will actually enable his Conquery, which is a little bit unfortunate, but my hand's actually pretty well equipped to deal with this. So what I like to do against this kind of situation is to hold the Twin Twister. Just because like hitting stuff blind, like especially because my hand's really good, so like the idea is to force one back row and then Twin Twister the other two away, because like typically what players do is they use their least valuable interactions first if they can help it, and then they save their stronger ones later. So like hitting Twin Twister at that point is a lot more valuable. Yeah, so I don't fear my Alistair getting hit by any interaction because I already have Invocation. So like in my build I play 3 Invocation because like for one, like Desires is a thing, but also like if Alistair gets ashed, which is like probably the best time to ash against this deck, like you want follow up immediately. So and especially if they see you play Gamma, they're not gonna like ash Meltdown, or like probably not even ash Desires, like if you have Gamma. So like things to think about. So I actually Desires here first, which I think looking back I probably would have actually Alistair'd first, but I think like the only difference that would really make was like if he had Ash specifically, because like I did side out the Gamma package, but again he might be playing around the Gamma, so I guess it's a 50-50 there. But yeah, so I pick up a Blue Sky, which is another good way to force that interaction. So what I think I should have done actually in hindsight is I should have specialed the blue first, because the Mekk-Knights are really good at forcing out disruptions, and like the play you want to resolve is Alistair. Granted, again, it didn't matter that because I had Invocation, that's why I went ahead and did this play. But like if I felt that like Alistair was gonna eat a disruption, which is why I summoned it, like Blue Sky will probably get another interruption, which will make Twin Twister a lot less valuable. But yeah, just like minor things like that, because like I wanted to Twin Twister, and I didn't want to pitch these hand traps, but yeah, I at this point like I probably should have like, because the reason why this is so awkward now is like if I Twin Twister, then I don't have columns to enable Blue Sky, because like I would have to use the Invocation to make like a Makaba in the extra monster zone, and like actually that would also be awkward because it wouldn't have a light engrave at that point. So the sequencing was a little bit weird here. Probably should have gone for the Blue Sky play first. That's why, because like Twin Twister makes it so that column setups aren't really a thing. Like So yeah, just like small things to keep in mind. Granted, he had the judgment anyway, but it's alright. At this point, I'm feeling like pretty confident that I can move forward even without Twin Twister. But he just scoops it up as soon as they flip Invocation. Because I could just negate the Conquery and he like is playing with no cards. I have Ash Ogre, so yeah, like in the end, like my hand was good enough to stop his plays because like he didn't really have engine cards, which is like kind of the problem with Geist is that like you need a good mix of engine cards and like non-engine cards because if you have too many monsters then like you can't really play the game either. But if you have too many traps then like you're never gonna have a win conditions. So like, that's the thing with Geist is that like I really like the deck. I really like Altergeist, but it does have its problems for sure. But like every deck in this format has problems. So I mean I guess that's something maybe to talk about in a later discussion video. But he's gonna go first. You kind of have to take the gamble of like you think they're gonna make you go first, like as Invoked, because Invoked obviously is notorious for being a blind second list. So you want to like you kind of want to like have insurance if you are a Mekk-Knight Invoked player. Like if you have things in your side deck to accommodate for going first, that would be ideal because people might make you go first. Trap decks is kind of weird because like they often also want to go first anyway, so it's kind of like a 50-50 on what your opponent will do, and like it's easier to make that kind of read if like you're in a real tournament because you can see how like heavily your opponent is siding if they're like if they make it obvious, which is actually kind of a thing that I like to do is I like to shuffle all of my side deck cards into the main deck as I'm side decking and then take out 15. That way they don't know how much I side. But if people like put down cards in like different piles, then like it makes it easy to see how heavily they're siding. And if you feel they're siding heavy, then you can maybe expect that they're making you go first. But enough of me rambling there. He picks up a duality off the duality because I think the other cards he picked up weren't very good for him. Let's see. He revealed... What did he reveal? Ash, Conquery, and Duality. Okay, yeah, and he had a Inspector Border anyway. And you normal summon this just to, like, I guess, play around Ash, but like, I'm not really going to Ash Duality. But anyways, yeah, this hand's actually really good against his setup because Protocol isn't live, he has no hand traps. Like, he didn't pick up Ash because of a border, which is, like, understandable, but I have Instant Fusion, which outs it, so... this is pretty much just a runaway game because I'm just obviously going to suck up his border, summon purple, summon like Alistair, and that's basically just the game right there. So yeah, you can kind of see why like it's interesting because like you can break a lot of boards and simplify the game state really quickly with this deck, and that's something that I think is a very high it's something very valuable in this format because like a lot of decks can't really thrive in simplified game states. Like if you think of like Spiral or like even this kind of deck where like you reduce the game state down to like 1 to 2 cards, then like your card quality is going to win out every time because summoning Alistair every turn is just super good. Whereas like most other decks require like at least 2 to 3 specific cards to be able to actually play to their win condition, and in this deck you only need 1. So that's really what I like about this deck and why I think it's a kind of a sleeper pick right now. It's definitely not like it's not on everyone's radar, but it's seeing more and more traction. If you guys saw the card market series in France, I believe it was over the past weekend, Mekk-Knight's got a, or sorry, not Mekk-Knight's, but Invoked's got a pretty high representation. Like even a pure Invoked variant would be pretty good. But yeah, anyways, enough of me talking there. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like as well as any thoughts or feedback in the comment section down below. Be sure to, or feel free to subscribe for more informative and competitive video content. If you want to, you can follow me on Discord, Twitter, or Twitch. All the links in the description as always. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I will catch you in the next video. See you guys.